Yesterday I received one very interesting comment on my YouTube video, and I just completely recognized, and it spoke to my heart in some ways. And so I wanted to share the comment because I completely agree with him. And he says, यार तुम्हारे रूम में पीछे वाली दीवार में टंगी हुई फोटो इज टेढ़ी, प्लीज उसको सीधा करो, द टेढ़ा फ्रेम इज ट्रिगरिंग मी. He's talking about this photograph टेढ़ी है, and that photograph वो भी टेढ़ी है. And I just want to be honest with you, मैं उनको रोज सीधा करता हूँ and ये फिर टेढ़ी हो जाती है. Like it's something I can't do, but I recognize why you're getting triggered by it. Today is a bright sunny day and we'll be reading the plays of Anton Chekhov. This is a collection that has all his plays. We'll just be doing one of his plays. It's called The Seagull. One thing that I was very conscious when I started this vlog series is that I did not want to read bad books. I didn't want to spend my whole day reading through a book that ends up being bad or mediocre. So very cunningly, I infiltrated the list with some of the books that I had already read and loved. And Anton Chekhov's Seagull is one of those books, one of those plays. I distinctly remember getting the hard copy of Anton Chekhov's play from my school library and sitting in my bedroom and reading this entire play in one sitting. I have forgotten most of the characters, the narrative, the plot, the dialogues, but the experience of that reading, the distinct feeling that I had when I read that play, it's something that has stayed with me. And today I just wanted to reread it, perhaps try to again recreate that feeling. I know it won't be possible, but at least I can attempt. As a 14-year-old, when I started reading great literature and watching some great cinema, I had this desire to convert my whole room into an aesthetic sphere. I wanted it to have like old movie posters on the wall, books on the table, books on the shelves. I wanted to have objects, trinkets, and everything had to be a reminder of things I loved, literature and cinema. But I even got, during my undergrad days, I even got these posters printed. I remember I got a poster printed of Forrest Gump. It was one of my favorite movies at that time. I got a poster printed of It's a Wonderful Life. Another old classic that I just absolutely loved and I would recommend to anyone. But the kind of person that I am, I never got down to, framing these posters and putting them on the wall. It was just like a failed plan, and some of these posters are now completely torn from the sides. I just did not have the aesthetic sense, or I was probably too lazy, but I think I always struggled with creating an ambience around me, a kind of an aesthetic, beautiful ambience around me. But there was one poster that I got framed. I finished reading Chekhov's play. I don't know. I think the biggest mockery that the play makes is that it says it's a comedy in 4 acts. And I find nothing comic about it. It's just like a heartbreaking tragedy. As in his profession, Chekhov was a surgeon and he made his sharpest incisions into the minds of human beings. There's this feeling that you have when you read Chekhov. I have never experienced this in any other contemporary writer, that it just hits you in the gut. And there is no dramatic event, no moment created, no artificial use of language, no powerful, imagery. It's just simple, mundane words, but they hit you in the gut. And I don't know how he creates situations like that, how he manages to do that. It's also his perspective about the life itself. It's if one has to talk about Chekhov to explain his idea, it would be simpler to say that there are two kinds of failures in this world. The first are the failures of those people who do not achieve what they want. The others are the failures of those people who achieve what they want. And Chekhov has an eye for both these failures. He's able to look into the heart of each person's sorrow and despair and reveal it. Like in this play, there is an actress who is a famous actress at one time but has lost her glory. There's a writer, a recognized writer, a well-known writer, and he has this long monologue about why he's frustrated with the act of writing. He says, I am like that honeybee that tramples upon my flowers, that takes off the roots of my flowers in order to serve honey to other people. So much so that as a writer, when I look at the sunset, I don't see the sunset. I don't experience it. I'm just wondering in my head, how am I going to write about this sunset in my next novel? How am I going to describe it? Okay, this is a particular kind of yellow. How do we write and describe this particular kind of yellow? So much so that his life is not an experience. It's like a fodder, a kind of a raw material for his writing. And every event, every incident, every person he meets has to transform himself into something else. He has to be molded so that he can take out a story, a play, a short story, a novel, an article out of them. And this is the burden of being a writer, and this is the burden that he carries on his shoulders. And then there are two other people in the play who would die to be recognized as writers, who want to experiment with their writings, who have always had the desire to be considered as a writer, to write well, and yet they're failures. And these two kinds of failures, Chekhov is just is able to present the darkness of their inner core with such beauty and such tragic insight into human existence. The only picture that I got framed from all the posters that I got printed in my undergrad days was this picture of Anton Chekhov. This picture has been hanging on my wall for the past 7 years, and now the frame is broken and the picture is blurred, and I now truly believe that it's a stupid idea to hang pictures of authors on your walls. But it just shows that how deep an impact this author had on me when I was 18-19-year-old, and it's an impact that still continues. And whenever I still read his work, it moves me and affects me in ways that I cannot explain.